Hello, welcome, and I hope your coffee is warm today. By the way, I want to actually start off a video saying thank you for 1000 subs because, I am thankful. Today we are doing a deck tech about Meren of Clan Nel Toth. She is a Junt shaman, actually barely, who almost got killed by her own clan. Basically, what they do is they try to almost kill someone so that they really feel alive, and that they can show the clan that they are strong enough to be part of the Junt clan. But she didn't really survive the challenge because she didn't really do the challenge. She did not use Junt nature magic. Instead, she used necromancy and her dark side, so she got exiled. And the reason I am telling you all this is because her flavor seems made for this archetype. Why? Meren then proceeded to call her own clan. She eradicated them, and now she vows to kill all of the Junt. So she's basically all about creating a really nice environment of elves and beautiful things, and then killing them all, just so that she can then resurrect one very strong thing, which is, in the end, very Junt of her. So her abilities, I basically said it, but she works with experience counters, so that's a little bit weird. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter while Meren of Clan Nel Toth is out on the battlefield. With these counters, you can often do multiple types of things, but in this case, she says at the beginning of your end step, you choose target creature card in your graveyard, and if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, you return it to the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it into your hand. So you don't need experience counters at all. You can also put cards into your hand and then play them, but of course, then you will need a bunch of mana. That is fine too, but doesn't really feel like Reanimation to me, does it? To you, it doesn't either. It shouldn't. So let's get into this deck tech. There are a few things that we need, that all decks really need, but there are a few things that only she needs. One thing, and I think I'll start with the most interesting, is her reanimation targets. Now, looking at Meren herself, she says she can reanimate one thing a turn. So if you are going for the reanimation route, which I went for, you will need to make sure that you are resurrecting big targets. This is often the case for reanimation decks, but I wouldn't say, which usually people do say, to go for the small things and just the small things. You can use them still, and it will be pretty good, but you will need things that really impact the game immediately and almost help you win. Think of Gary, or the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which enters and then makes each opponent lose a bunch of life equal to the devotion you have to black. That is perfect because it helps you finish the game with reach. Junji, the dragon, is a 5/5 with flying, so it can help you finish a game. It is also recursion on its own, so it says put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield. And dragons are flavorful because Meren killed her own clan with a resurrected dragon. And the card, or the creature on her card art, is also that exact dragon, I think. I'm not really sure if that's canon, but it seems that way, and that is enough for me. Kokusho, also really good, makes each opponent lose 5 life. If you're not sure, you can go the Gary way. Massacre Worm, great because it is also a sort of small board wipe, and we love board wipes because we want things to die. Protean Hulk, also very good when it dies, and we can make things die in this deck. You search your library for any number of creatures with total mana value 6 or less. And Meren is still pretty good with cards that are small, so you can definitely find some very high value creatures with the Protean Hulk, even though it is not meant to be a combo deck. Razakath, usually not the best bomb in Commander, but here, yeah. It is. You pay 2 life, you sacrifice another creature, and you search your library for a card. And you can do this over and over because we love sacrificing creatures. This is also just a flying trample 8/8. Shieldred, of course, because it helps you reanimate and kills all of your opponent's stuff. And CDC is also a sort of Razaketh Light, where when they enter, you exploit one creature, which you can then sacrifice, of course, and then you may search your library for a card and put it into your hand. So also very good. Those are the things that you want to reanimate. Many of the things I have give you new things to reanimate or find or do, and many of the things immediately kill someone, because we need enough things that immediately kill someone. Now, I was talking a bit about lore. I want to talk about this particular land, which I have tricked you to read right now. It says, "The elf was disgusted by the bramble before him when the skies darkened. Then he stepped closer to observe the wild beauty." And I wanted to show you this because it is perfect for the lore of Meren. Because elves are, of course, very green. They are all about beauty and nature, and they shouldn't be about the dark side. But eventually, looking closer at it, maybe the dark side wasn't so bad after all. Speaking about elves, and yes, I did think about that, we have some ramp, and of course we have cards like Llanowar Elves, which is an elf. We also have Wood Elves. Cards like these are perfect. You can have some more, you can have some fewer, but I think you will at least need 2 of these, and I do have 2. Wood Elves says, when they enter the battlefield, you search a library for a forest card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So reanimating Wood Elves for just 3 mana value, which you can easily do and get onto the battlefield immediately, will help you ramp even more. And we love ramping. So Wood Elves is perfect as a creature. It is also just a creature, and we want a massive bulk of creatures. I think I have almost 40, I'm not entirely sure, but there are many creatures. I will look it up in a little bit. And we need those. So many of the ramp cards are creatures too. A few aren't, like Soul Ring, of course, which should be there. But White of the Reliquary, I love this because it also lets you find that land. You sacrifice another creature and then basically ramp. So that is really good because we love sacrificing creatures too. And White of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, and you will have many. Skull Prophet also ramps you on its own. It's a dork, mana dork, but it also can mill you 2 cards every time it taps. Sakura Tribe Elder is my second Wood Elves. It says sacrifice this creature, which is great, by the way. This line of being able to immediately sacrifice itself is perfect for Meren, because the turn you play Meren, you want to sacrifice all of your things, so that you can then use her ability better. So if it would stop at that, sacrifice this creature for free, this would already be amazing, but it also says search your library for a basic land card and you may put it onto the battlefield tapped, so you can at least use Meren to ramp each turn with this Sakura Tribe Elder, but you can do way better things. Phyrexian Altar also helps you sacrifice, says sacrifice a creature, so that's good in my book. Llanowar Elves, classic, you know it. I think Elves of the Deep Shadow is the same, and basically in this deck Birds of Paradise is the same too. You just want creatures that make mana but also are a creature. Insidious Roots also helps you ramp, because whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, so if you reanimate them, for example, you create a 0/1 that can then be tapped for mana, because the first ability says creature tokens you control have the ability to tap to add 1 mana. You also put +1 counters on those creatures, so if you reanimate often, that can spiral out of control, but really it's here for the ramp and the extra value. Cultivate is a classic. We want enough of these. Well, I only have 1, but often you want more of these cards that aren't necessarily on a creature, so that you have stable ramp. But in this deck, Sakura Tribe Elder and the Wood Elves function as this as well. But Cultivate is just very stable and gets you 2 lands instead of 1 on a card. Birds of Paradise, also very good, talked about it just now. And Ashnod's Altar also says sacrifice a creature and ramps you a bit. Or a lot, if you are lucky or good. Now there are some cards that help you win the game through having things die or re-enter the battlefield. Cards like Blood Artist that deal damage whenever something something dies. Doesn't matter, from your opponents too. We love that. Butcher of Malakir says your opponents have to sacrifice a thing whenever a creature of yours dies. Same thing for Gravebacked, and I thought another one, but I don't see it right now. Anyways, they do the same thing, and we love that because we want our opponents not to have anything either. Grim Haruspex, also very good because whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card. Doesn't even say once a turn, which many of all cards do right now. Jarad, also very good because it helps you sacrifice, but also it will get bigger, so it's a bit of an upside. Midnight Reaper helps you draw cards. We love drawing cards because creatures die, but then we have no mana to play them. Well, there's Pitiless Plunderer. Whenever a creature dies, you get a treasure token. And oftentimes you can very much spiral out of control with these. And then Sir Conrad, a classic one for reanimation decks, because whenever a creature dies, you ping your opponents, but also whenever a creature leaves your graveyard, you also ping your opponents. And also, it doesn't even only work on yourself, so that is great. We have some board wipes, really important here to have your minimum of 5. It's like eating your veggies. Culling Rituals, very good. It is in our colors, of course, that's one thing, but also helps you add a bunch of mana for all of those small creatures that you are killing. Damnation, just a classic one, because I needed enough board wipes. Living Death, very good here, because we have a bunch of creatures in our graveyard, which we use as a toolbox more than just reanimating everything. So oftentimes we have a bunch of cards in our graveyard that we can put onto the battlefield, while hopefully our opponents do not. And then Toxic Deluge is of course just very good. We have one piece of haste or protection, it's Lightning Greaves. I didn't go for any other boots. Why? Because we want it to be 0 to equip, because we are very mana hungry. Even though we are in green, yes. Recursion, of course, our commander is not the only thing that should do the commander thing. We want some backups. Animate that does it for 2 mana, that's great. Junji we just talked about, Living Death as well. And then Mikaeus, the Unhallowed, which is good because it doesn't really reanimate per se, but it gives non-human creatures you control undying, and many of our creatures want to be killed and then they want to enter the battlefield again. So Mikaeus is perfect for that. Reanimate 1 mana to do the thing, even better than animate that in my opinion. And then we have Rise of the Witch King, which is 4 mana to sacrifice a creature, but every other player also needs to sacrifice a creature. And /bot, if you sacrifice a creature this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a win-win-win, and we love those. And then Victimize, which is also a win-win, maybe a win-win-win. But Victimize is 3 mana for a sorcery to say, choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, you sacrifice a creature, and then you may return 2 of those creatures. This is great, we want our creatures to die, we want our creatures to be reanimated. This does 3 of those things. That is also great. Removal is usually basic, you would say, but here it really isn't. Well, we start off basic with Abrupt Decay, 2 mana to do the thing, but we have Accursed Marauder, which is 2 mana to do another cool thing, which is each player sacrifices a non-token creature. So it kills something from our opponents, but also helps us sacrifice our creatures, which we love. Assassin's Trophy is 2 mana to do the thing, can destroy any target permanent, so that is helpful, but it gives your opponent a basic land back. Beast Within, maybe better, is an instant that does the same, but then also gives your opponent a 3/3, which is often in Commander better than giving them a land. Bloom, Little Bloom here is 2 mana, and then for 1 mana you can sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's removal enough for me, because it can sacrifice itself for cheap. Putrefy, 3 mana to do the thing. Ravenous Chupacabra can be gotten back, 4 mana though, bit high on the mana value, but then destroys a target creature, and it's just a 2/2 which you can then sacrifice, so that's fine. Reclamation Stage is 3 mana to destroy an artifact or enchantment, and also on a creature, We love small creatures with big effects. Streak Maw we also love for the same reason, but it could also be played to immediately die, which is sometimes an upside. Maybe you could even say it's a win-win-win again. We also want other things that sacrifice. Altar of Dementia's just here for the sacrifice a creature. Yes, I wasn't kidding that I loved that little piece of line of text. Braids, Arisen Nightmare, very good because it forces your opponents to sacrifice stuff. Because if you do sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land or planeswalker, your opponents have to sacrifice a permanent of their choice that shares a card type with it. So they sacrifice along with you, and we love sharing the pain. For each opponent who doesn't sacrifice, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. And we also love drawing cards. I think we don't have many new ones in here. We have Spore Frog, which can sacrifice itself. This is a very famous one because it can be very annoying. What it says is you sacrifice a Spore Frog to prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. That means you can be safe for 1 turn and then you can easily get it back, even if you don't get it back onto the battlefield immediately, which I think you should. But even if that's not the case, you can just get it back into your hand and it will only be 1 mana to cast it again. So it's the least you can do with Meren. Viscera Seer also sacrifices a creature, also is a creature, so that's an upside. And then Warren Soul Trader has been a menace in Commander the last years. It says pay 1 life to sacrifice a creature and create a treasure token. If you can get 2 treasures from a creature every time you sacrifice it with the Warren Soul Trader, you must be able to go off into infinity some way. And Yawgmoth, very good, just very good. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, draw a card. We don't even look at the -1 counter usually. And you could discard a card and proliferate for 2 mana, which is a thing you can do and can sometimes really help you, but really is there for the sacrificing ability. Yeah, I have not talked about card draw yet, I think. No. So that's also very good. Card draw isn't really always card draw in this deck, because getting things in your graveyard I would also count as a sort of card advantage. Stitcher Supplier for that reason helps you mill 6 cards. Once for entering, once for dying, and it's a creature that can die. So that's really good. We haven't talked about Moldifying Reclamation yet, which is a 5 mana enchantment that says whenever a creature dies, you gain a life. So if you have to pay a life through one of your abilities that sacrifice a creature, for example, you get that life back. So it's not insignificant, or not exactly not significant. But you also draw a card, which you love. And Guardian Project, basically the same for you, because whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, you draw a card, is basically what it says for us. Grisly Salvage helps you put 4 cards into your graveyard, and you may choose a creature or land from among them and put it into your hand. So a bit of card draw, but mainly here to fill your graveyard. Entomb, here to fill your graveyard. For 1 mana, you can choose any card from your library to put there. And Buried Alive, you can do this for 3 cards, 3 creature cards, and put them into your graveyard immediately. Birthing Pod can definitely help you storm off. It's 2 mana or 1 mana and 2 life. To tap and sacrifice a creature, then you may search your library for a creature that is 1 mana value greater than what you have sacrificed, basically. And that was it for the deck. This deck also has many ways to combo off. So make sure that people are okay with you playing a strong deck, I would say. You can definitely tune this even more to become at least somewhat competitive. Go ahead and make it as strong as you want. This is at least a fun, casual way to play it. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye.